On Race in Lubbock. Hosted by Terry Furman.
Thanks for staying with us. This next half hour, we're going to talk about being heard, a conversation on race here in Lubbock. This month is Hispanic Heritage Month, so we thought it'd be a great time to bring out our Hispanic females to talk about family and activism here in the city of Lubbock and when it comes to racism. Now, I have to personally tell you that my connection to all of this is I have an Afro-Hispanic daughter, and so my experience comes from what I see through her eyes. I think we are all people, we all bleed red, we all have the same parts and pieces, so, you know, race I don't understand. So this is why we want this conversation to start, so that you can start having these conversations so that we can make changes right here in our city. From left to right, let me introduce you to our three panelists today. We have Ms. Perla Sosa, who is an activist and a parent. Thank you for being here. We've got Vanjie Montez, who is also an activist and parent here in Lubbock. And we've got Christy Martinez Garcia, which is someone you've seen here on KLBK, a business owner, activist, parent, all those things. So thank you each for being here and being willing to talk to us today. I want to start out by asking you to think about what you saw growing up as racism and what you're still seeing today. If you would like to start, Perla.
I think for me, being a young lady, just kind of growing up in the north side of town, anytime that I would come out, like wherever, the mall, wherever, and people are like, where are you from? Well, I'm from North Lubbock and I am Hispanic. I think immediately the image was, oh, she's from over there. And so you kind of get treated a little bit differently after that. It's not like I'm from, you know, Southwest Lubbock or wherever. It's, no, she's Hispanic and she's from over there. So you just get treated a little differently.
And is that still existing today?
I think I've broken through some of that too. But the same conversation, I still live there. I am in my grandmother's home now. And so it's still the same conversation. If I'm asked, well, what part of town do you live in? You know, well, I live in, you know, the north side, and they're like, you know, you kind of get the shock look like, over there, you know, and it's kind of like, you know what, yes, over there, you know, but it is what it is. I think I've just kind of gotten used to it, per se, so.
It's just another part of our great city.
Yeah.
All right, Vanjie, how about you?
For me, my parents had us not leave the neighborhood. We're from the north side. We never left our neighborhood. We had borders that we did not, like we didn't venture to the mall, we didn't venture to those places until I was in my late teens, and I was born and raised here. Like that wasn't something we did. We didn't leave our neighborhood. And then once we started getting older, we started venturing out and taking the bus to the mall and those kinds of things. And growing up, I was one of the first classes that got bused. So we got bused from our neighborhood to the South neighborhood on South Lubbock, and it was horrible. It was a horrible experience. It was, you know, everybody looking down their nose at you, and you're like, we're sorry, we're crashing your school. It wasn't our idea.
Right.
You know, it wasn't our choice. They sent us there. And now as an adult, it's shocking. It's shocking that even in my circle, there are people that believe, you know, differently than I believe. And I didn't know that about them, but it seems that in this culture now, they feel free to act on their thoughts.
Right. Christy?
Well, it's been definitely challenging living in Lubbock. I've lived in other places, but my parents were very progressive. And I had a grandfather, Mexican-American. That was my paternal granddad. My maternal grandparents were biracial. I mean, when we talk about race, Hispanics can be of any ethnicity, and my granddad was a Spanish Jew. My grandmother was Polynesian, and we had a little bit of everything happening. So I was raised with a very mixed culture, but it was a great experience. But when I was 10 years old, I visited a small town that family members lived in, and it was the first time that I was called a wetback. And it was one of the most shocking experiences, and I actually talked about it recently, and I got really emotional. And even as an adult, I was told to go back to my country, having to remind that person I wasn't an immigrant. I am not an immigrant, and it was heartbreaking. But, you know, as Vanjie says, it is what it is.
Right. Wow. Okay. Now, Our Brenda Lipinski did a story for us. You know, it's important to note the unique diversity, as Christy just touched on, within the culture. The Hispanic population comes from places all over the world. So our Brenda Lipinski sat down with some people who live here in Lubbock to talk to them about the Hispanic culture. Brenda, where are these people from?
They're from all over, Terry. Believe it or not, there's a world of culture right here in Lubbock. The people I spoke with either have roots or come from a Latin American country, which they hold very dear to their hearts. And they're just thrilled to be able to share a bit of their culture. A sweet melody fills the air. It's a way Roberta Rodriguez says she's able to connect with her Mexican culture.
A lot of us, you know, we're second generation. Our parents are from Mexico, our grandparents are from Mexico, but we're from here. And so our greatest piece of Mexico that our family has given to us has been music.
And with 20 countries making up Latin America, each has its own unique qualities.
Bolivia is located in the center of South America. And I would say that the most representative thing of my country is like you can have a huge diversity of cultures and ecoregions, and it's like very close to the sea level where you can have the tropics, you can have the Andes.
And Colombia in South America.
Colombia is well known for different things. We have a really good coffee. We have different places where we actually grow coffee. And also we have different musicians, singers that a lot of people know here, like Shakira, Juanes, J Balvin now with all the reggaeton.
And delicious foods make up a special part of each country.
Arepa is like a family tradition, but everybody gets involved, everybody makes the arepa. Similar to a gordita, in Venezuela we can eat that every day.
But if you're more into activity, dance is also a part of life in some countries like Puerto Rico.
First, I think there's always music and there's always dancing.
In every family gathering, there's always merengue and salsa and bachata, so you learn how to dance from a really young age.
But no matter where Latin Americans come from, there's one thing they have in common.
The Latino community is very resilient.
All right, Brenda, thanks so much. Don't go anywhere. Our conversation is just getting started.
Handling that roofing job all by yourself.